Word of God, and should we follow its teachings? That's just pretty much what it is, all right? I'm going to use some terminology I really want you to keep in mind. So you're going to have to just write a couple of these things down, all right? Some terminology to keep in mind. What is the Talmud? So the first one is Bereda. Can you say Bereda? All right. So what is a Bereda? A traditional Jewish interpretation or statement of biblical law. So a Jewish interpretation or statement on the law. So I'm going to give you a bereta. I'm going to give you a Jewish statement about the law. All right? That's a bereta. Now the next one is halakha. Can y'all say halakha? All right. All right. So halakha is the body of Jewish law. Pay attention to this. Supplementing the scriptural law and forming especially the legal part of the Talmud. All right? So it's their supplement for what we have here, the scriptural law. The Talmud, and when you deal with halakha, is their laws that supplement what we have here, the scriptural law, according to them. All right? So I'll leave those up there. We good? Or not yet? All right, not yet. I'll wait. We got it? We good? All right. All right, so the next one is Mishnah. Can you say Mishnah? All right, so Mishnah. Mishnah is the collection of mostly halakhic, as we dealt before, halakha, all right, Jewish traditions compiled about AD 200 and made the basic part of the Talmud. That's when they compiled it. Now, when we deal with some of our works, especially, let's say, for example, the New Testament, some of the oldest papyri with the New Testament, how do they date? Does anybody know? All right, you're looking at 100, 150 AD. So what we know as far as the Bible, the New and Old Testament, the New Testament was even finished before they even started working on the aspect of the Talmud. We do it all the time, the Septuagint. When was the Septuagint written? Anybody know? One of the brothers? Yeah, before Christ. So we in the BC. We know for sure. About what year or what time frame? 200, 300 BC. All right. So an aspect where is the Bible and our works, our manuscript, older or newer than the Talmud? Older, right? So it's older. Our works are already older because, as we dealt with before, halakha is their supplement for the scriptures. All right? So let's go ahead. And the next one is Gomorrah. Can we say Gomorrah? Gomorrah is a commentary on the Mishnah forming the second part of the Talmud. Everybody following? All right. Anybody need more time to write it? We good? Say, wait a minute. All right, go ahead. So and the reason why I'm going over this is because you're going to see a lot of these terms come up, and I want people, well, what's halakha, what's Gomorrah? So you're going to hear these terms more so again, so it's important for you to kind of have the basic aspect of writing them down so you already know you're familiarized with them, all right? All right, so moving on. So the website used, if you want to go look for a Talmud online, sefaria.org is what I used, all right? All right, so what is the Talmud? The oral law, all right, the Mishnah. That's what they did with the oral law, their teachings, is a legal commentary on the Torah. And that legal commentary, more so the Gomorrah. And it says explaining how its commandments are to be carried out. Common sense suggests that some sort of oral tradition was always needed to accompany the written law, because the Torah alone, as they say, even with its 613 commandments, and that's where you get that from. When they say 613 laws, it's according to the Jewish faith or Judaism. I don't say 613 laws because I ain't counted them, and I don't have a good Hebrew from one of us actually going into counting them. So I just say, look, it's many laws out there, all right? I don't know if it's 613, because even when you go into what they chose to substantiate as a law, it's like now you just throwing anything in there. All right, so it's an aspect where that's more so where it comes from. But it says in the insufficient guide to Jewish life, and that's from Jewish Virtual Library. So what you have here on the left, this is what we follow, the written tradition. The Torah, as they say, Torah, Nivim, Ketuvim, the teaching, the prophets, and writings. So as we deal with, you have the law, the prophecies, and the history. That's what makes up the Bible. And from that, that's where they get the 613 laws from the teachings. Now, the oral tradition, as we dealt with, that's the Talmud. That's where you have the Mishnah, the collection of the oral laws, as they divide in 6 divisions. And you have the Gomorrah, the Aramaic commentary on the Mishnah, showing its scriptural basis, so to speak, at least how they feel about it. Let's get Isaiah 34 and 16. Let's get the book of Isaiah, chapter 34, and let's get verse 16.
Isaiah 34, verse 16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord.
The book of man.
Out of the book of the Lord.
Man's ideology.
Out of the book of the Lord.
And what?
And read.
And read. It says, seek ye out the book of the Lord and read. Because at the end of the day, the Talmud is just an aspect of what man feels the scriptures is actually saying. In short. Go ahead, read on.
No one of these shall fail.
No one of these things written within this Bible, within this codex, this book of books, is going to fail. The only thing that will fail is our ability to search these things out. Read on.
None shall want her mate.
None shall want her what?
Her mate.
None shall want her mate, meaning you don't need another companion to go along with this book. This book is a standalone book. As I tell brother all the time, ain't no Bible 2 dropping. The Most High gave you the Bible. This is sufficient. All right, read on.
For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit.
And his what?
And his spirit it hath gathered them.
And the Most High Spirit, he's the one that compiled these writings together. The Talmud, he didn't compile none of that. This is what he compiled. These scriptures that you read on a day-to-day. Get Psalms 111 and 10.
Psalms chapter 111, verse 10. The wicked shall see it and be grieved. He shall gnash with his teeth and melt away. The desire of the wicked shall perish.
Bruh, so it's an aspect where the desire of the wicked shall perish. Get read that again. Read it one more time.
Psalms 111, verse 10. The wicked shall see it. Oh.
Jay discovered it. Aha. Go ahead.
I was reading 112, verse 10.
That's all right. I love you anyway.
Yep. Psalms 111, verse 10. The fear of the Lord is in the beginning of wisdom. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments.
So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of his wisdom. And you get a good understanding of the scriptures through reading the scriptures, through applying his laws and commandments. That's how you grow in the spirit. That's how you start to become wiser. That's how you start, I never understood this, but now you go back and it's like it makes sense to you now. Because the Most High starts to open you up. As you seek him, he's like, man, I'm dealing with you. I'm going to open you up more. You ain't going to get this all in one day and one reading. So an aspect where it takes time. You know, it takes time to get it. It's something you're not going to get in one day. Let's go ahead and I'm going to read this. So the Talmud, Hebrew for study, is one of the central works of the Jewish people. It is the record of rabbinic teachings that spans a period of about 600 years, beginning in the 1st century CE, Common Era, AD, and continuing to the 6th and 7th century CE. The rabbinic teaching of the Talmud explain in great detail how the commandments of the Torah are to be carried out. And I read it again, explain in great detail, which it does, great detail. I read it, you get annoyed just reading the damn book. But it says, explains in great detail how the commandments of the Torah are to be carried out. In which I'm going to bring up later on that why would you go unto the heathen for them to teach you how to keep the Most High's laws? What kind of sense does that make? You the holy people, why am I going to go to you to learn about my God? We're reading on. For example, the Torah teaches us that one is prohibited from working on the Sabbath. But what does that really mean? There is no detailed definition in the Torah of work. The Talmudic tractate called Shabbat therefore devotes an entire chapter to the meaning of work in the various categories of prohibited work, which I kind of get where they're coming from. All right, it's a book. We're trying to want to make it easier for people to understand. But a lot of the stuff, you're going to get it. That's why the Most High has teachers. That's why you always got to be in a situation where you have teachers who give the knowledge and the understanding, you know, the help that's actually there that you can deal with. Get Psalms 50 and 16. But at the same time, it's not their job to do that. It's Psalm chapter 50 and verse 16.
Psalms chapter 50, verse 16. But unto the wicked, God saith.
Now, at the end of the day, last time I checked, these so-called Jews, these Khazars, are they wicked or righteous? They wicked as hell, right? And what did the Most High say about them? Read.
What hast thou to do to declare my statutes?
The Most High said, look, what do you have to do to declare my statutes? Ain't no way a wicked, it's the same thing, no different than the bootleg pastor. What are you doing declaring my statutes? You ain't even right. They ain't even the right people trying to declare the statutes. Read.
Or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth.
Right. Who are you to even start speaking about what the children of Israel should be doing according to righteousness? Get 2 Ezra 3 and 36. Go ahead and read that.
2 Ezra chapter 3, verse 36. Thou shalt find that Israel by name hath kept thy precept, but not the heathen.
But not the who?
But not the heathen.
So it's an answer. You shall find that all times throughout history, the nation of Israel were the only ones who were trying to abide by these laws and actually keep them, and were successful in keeping them. You had righteous forefathers, many of which who were successful in keeping these laws. When have the heathen ever been successful in keeping them? When have they really kept it? When have you ever seen the nations and you see that they're really trying to keep the laws? And I'll continue. The Talmud is made up of two separate works. The Mishnah, primarily a compilation of Jewish laws, written in Hebrew and edited sometime around 200 CE in Israel. In the Gomorrah, the rabbinic commentaries and discussions on the Mishnah, written in Hebrew and Aramaic, which emanated from Israel and Babylonia over the next 300 years. So there are two Talmuds, and keep this in mind. You have the Jerusalem or Jerusalem Talmud from Israel, and the Bavli or Babylonian Talmud. The Babylonian Talmud, which was edited after the Jerusalem Talmud, and it is much more widely known, is generally considered more authoritative than the Jerusalem Talmud, which at the end of the day doesn't matter because neither one of them is authoritative. But let's get it. Now, here's the part that got me. It's how they see it. Because this is all from their websites, how their understanding of how they see it. It says correct answers emerge out of the process of argument. They make it seem like it's something like just came out the Black Lagoon. It comes out of, we just talk about it and when we get there somehow. So it says correct answers emerge out of the process of argument that filled the Talmud and all the books written to explain it. They are tentative conclusions whose rightness is based upon the ability of one school of thought to persuade the community of rabbinic scholars that its points of view represents the best understanding of Torah and of God's demands upon us. As the earliest rabbinic interpretation of the Bible, the earliest rabbinic interpretation of the Bible, it's all about how they feel about it. This is what we believe it's really saying. It's really not, I see you read the Bible, aha, you read the Bible, it's not sufficient, huh? You miss a lot, yes? That's how they be talking. It's not sufficient. It said the Bible is the Talmud is indispensable to understanding the laws and customs still practiced today. Well, how the hell are we keeping it then? If it's that essential, how are we still keeping it without the Talmud? How many times you seen us whip out the Talmud and we got to get the understanding, y'all? Only the rabbis got it. You don't see us do that, right? So it's not indispensable. It says the Talmudic discussion and its conclusions provide us with the origins of our many laws and customs. At least so they say. But in short, it's like this is what they do with the Talmud. It's a whole bunch of commentary about a whole bunch of laws. We just imagine us writing a book of laws to go along with the book of laws and then writing about what we think the original laws mean, and let's document the journey from the argument to the answer, and let's just call it the Talmud. That's what they do. That's what the whole Talmud is at the end of the day. Them just talking about it and how they feel about it. But why listen to them? Because this is how they contemplate about it. They think about it. Thou shalt bid them fringes upon four corners of thy garment, yes. And they fail miserably. They fail miserably every time. And they do the same thing again. We don't round the corners. No, we don't round them. We keep the corners. You can't keep the locks. They do the same thing. And if they think they're keeping the law. Rabbi Fuvaskit. And I made that name. I make all my memes. So it's a situation where Rabbi full of you know what. So that they got to grow them locks. That's what they do. That's what they rock, right? According to their understanding. This is how they feel. Like they just all that because they really feel like they're the holy people. Like they just don't stink and they just on. And like everybody really wants to rock after their styles. When who the hell wants to wear that? How many of y'all dying like, I got to get that. I got to look like them. I got to dress like them. That looks appealing. It don't even feel that way. Get Psalms 147 and 20.
147 and 20.
Your Psalm chapter 147 and 20. Because they struggling trying to figure out how to keep the laws. Read that.
Psalms chapter 147 verse 20. He hath not dealt so with any nation.
So is he dealing with them? No, so they lost. The Most High has not shown any aspect of enlightenment to them. They ain't even looking at the light. Get Ecclesiastes 12 and 12. Let's get Isaiah 34 and 16.
Ecclesiastes 12 and 12.
Yeah, we can Ecclesiastes 12 and 12.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 12.
Read it.
And further by these, my son, be admonished. Of making of many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh.
Get Isaiah 34 and 16. Because we had a lot of books. Sometimes it's like we read and we make it feel like this is just all we had. Like we didn't have cookbooks. We didn't have books on other aspects of learning. We had those things. But those things weren't necessarily of the same value and necessity as getting these particular words, as getting these particular works that you read within the scriptures. So it's an aspect where the Most High preserved what it is that we needed. And we sure as hell don't need they books. That's only going to cause more confusion within Israel instead of actually giving us sound answer that we need to hear. Get Isaiah 34 and 16.
Isaiah chapter 34 verse 16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate.
So we got to seek out the book of the Lord and we got to read his book and not none of theirs. But we're going to get into some of their doctrines and some of their stuff, but it's like certain stuff, and brothers know, you be researching stuff like, why the hell am I researching? It's so stupid. You know, you get like that, and it's like, damn, what's the point? So it's going to be a load of just crap. But teaching of the Talmud. Now, of course, we run into this situation where you will have certain things you may read that, okay, this may coincide with the scriptures. And some of our people take that like, that means like the whole book is sound doctrine because I found something that may coincide with the scriptures. And so the sages said in the name of Rabbi Ishmael, that a descendant of Noah is executed even for killing fetuses. Because the aspect, well, the law says that, hey, an unborn child is life. And the source is Sanhedrin 57b. So I'll keep the sources in there, so if someone wants to write them down and look up where it says that, the sources will be in there in the Talmud. But get that, Exodus 21, 22 to 23. Because the scripture deal with that, the unborn child is still life. But that ain't something like, oh man, the Talmud says it, man, that's right, we got to follow that. Nah, the Bible said it, Most High said it first. Who do you think they got it from? Get Exodus 21, 22 to 23.
Exodus chapter 21, verse 22. If men strive.
So if men strive, they're fighting, they're in a disagreement, they're arguing, read.
And hurt a woman with child.
And you know that, hey, brothers may be on the standby and they hurt her. They tussling and, man, dude ends up hitting her, you know, read.
So that her fruit depart from her.
So that her fruit depart from her. So that her child depart from her. That's a life. That her fruit, that her child. Read.
And yet no mischief follow.
No mischief follow, because it could have been an accident. Read.
He shall surely be punished, according as the woman's husband will lay upon him. And he shall pay as the judges determine. Because,
hey, it's still a situation where judgment still has to go forth, even if it's an accident. But read on.
And if any mischief follow,
meaning it's intentional, I'm trying to kill that baby in her womb. Read.
Then thou shalt give life for life.
Oh, then that nigga gotta die. You know, it's life for life at that point in time. So a situation where you will read maybe things of that nature, but that in no way makes the book on point by far. Because we won't get into this stuff. And this is, man, all right, stay with me. Gotcha. Incest. Come in here a proof from a bereta. Can someone tell me what a bereta is? Someone know what a bereta is when we talked about it? Say it. Who had it? May you read it? Give pass on the mic. Is it on? May you read it, Alonzo, for me, please, sir? Yeah, it's on. Yeah, pass him that one. Read from that one.
Hello. A traditional Jewish interpretation or statement.
There we go.
Of biblical
Thank you,
law.
brother. Jewish statement. All right. So this is their statement. For what reason did Adam not marry his daughter? So that Cain would marry his sister and they would procreate immediately, as it is stated. For I have said, the world shall be built on kindness. Once again, did that make any sense? It says, so that Cain would marry his sister and they would procreate immediately, as it is stated, for I have said, the world shall be built on kindness, Psalms 89 and 3. These Edos don't even know how to use precepts properly. That has nothing to do with what it is that we're dealing with. It says, this verse alludes to the fact that at the beginning of the world's existence, it was permitted for men to marry their sisters. Now, who else got that from that verse at all? Nothing, right? Nowhere on it. But let's continue. Which was later forbidden in the verse, and if a man shall take his sister, it is a shameful thing. Leviticus 20:17. The Gomorrah infers, so once again, their oral law, if it had not been so, if God had not specially permitted Cain to marry his sister, she would have been forbidden to him. This is difficult according to the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, who deems it permitted for a Gentile to marry his sister. And it just doesn't make any sense. But let's continue. It says the Gomorrah rejects this proof. Once it was permitted for Cain to marry his sister. It was permitted for all descendants of Noah, so pretty much everyone on this world today, to do so. And it was forbidden only to Jews. Anybody else read that in the scriptures? It says, Rav Huna says, now you see all these Edos giving their input of what it is they feel it is, and this is how the whole Talmud is written. So it says, a Gentile is permitted to marry his daughter. And if you say, for what reason did Adam not marry his daughter? It was so that Cain would marry his sister, because it is stated, the world shall be built on kindness. You got kids in the little lions can outbeat what it is they trying to put together. But let's continue, because part of it is it seems like it just renders more confusion than answers. So, and that's part of reading it where it's like, what the hell are you talking about? But let's just get this last one. This is Sanhedrin 58b. This is all Sanhedrin 58b. Because I'm getting in context, because once again, situation where who knows, maybe I'm precepting they Talmud wrong, but as long as I'm not the only one who's feeling like, am I reading it in error? And it says, and there are those who say that Rav Huna did not say this. Rather, Rav Huna says, a Gentile is prohibited from marrying his daughter. Know that this is the halakha. As Adam did not marry his daughter, the Gomorrah rejects this statement. But that is not so, as this is the reason Adam did not marry his daughter, so that Cain would marry his sister, because it is stated, the world shall be built on kindness. And it gets very repetitive, just like that. Get Leviticus 18:3. What does the law say about it? Get Leviticus 18:3. But think about, who want to sit up there and read? They got multiple volumes of the book. It's written just like this. Who really want to sit up there and read that? Say that again? No, that's Sanhedrin 58b, I want to say. Yeah, 58b. So it's a pair of balls. All them slides, it's trash. Get Leviticus 18:3.
Leviticus 18 and verse 3. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do.
Right, because the aspect where these things were later learned. This wasn't what, like we do, this wasn't stuff Noah was teaching. It wasn't stuff Adam was teaching. These are things that later on, the nations we deal with know, they started, his children started later on, I'm going to go this way, y'all go this way, where they started taking on other aspects. But that wasn't what the Most High said from the beginning, like, hey, it's okay, marry your sister. Yeah, sure. He never said that. Get Leviticus 18:6-9.
None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin. Excuse me. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord. The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother.
So these were all the laws the Most High made from the inception when he made the world. He said, look, this is, he had to, people think when you read it in here, like, oh, see, this is where the law was just made when he gave it to Israel. No, he had to reintroduce it to Israel. Their forefathers knew, but it's an aspect where the Israelites didn't know because they lost that knowledge because they were in the land of Egypt. They started taking on the ways of the Egyptians. Read on.
The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or the daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness shalt thou not uncover.
So anything we just read allude to, it's all right for me to have sex with my sister, my mama, my daddy? Not at all, right? So where the hell are they getting it from? But get Genesis chapter 4, get verse 5-7. Let's get Genesis chapter 4, let's get verse 5-7.
Genesis chapter 4, verse 5. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? So
the Most High said to Cain, look, why are you upset? Why is your countenance, why you acting like you got an attitude now? Like something bothering you. Read on.
If thou doest well.
If thou doest what?
If thou doest well.
Read.
Shalt thou not be accepted?
He said, look, if you do the right thing, will you not be accepted? Well, in order for him to do the right thing, the Most High already had something in place to determine what was right or wrong. Read on.
And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door.
What lieth at the door?
Sin lieth at the door.
He said, sin lieth at the door. Get 1 John 3 and 4. Because what is sin? He says sin lieth at the door. Get 1 John 3 and 4. Get 1 John chapter 3 and read verse 4.
1 John chapter 3, verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin,
So whosoever committeth the sin, read,
transgresseth also the law.
you also transgress or break the law. There has to be a law in place in order for there to be an offense. There has to be some sort of protocol or order in place in order for there to be some type of transgression. Otherwise, where there's no law, there's no sin. So an aspect where these were the laws, these laws were already laid out. The Most High laid all these things out, what he gave unto Adam, that he gave unto Cain. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been tripping on Cain. Like, look, if you do well, you'll be accepted, but your spirit ain't right. You're not following my laws the same way your brother is. So it's an aspect where all these things were there in the beginning. But let's get this one. This is from Moed Katan 17a. It says, Rabbi Iyah said, if a person is, and listen to this one, it says, if a person is tempted to do evil, he should go to a city where he is not known, dress in black clothes, cover his head in black, and do what his heart desires so that God's name would not be desecrated.
Oh, let me interject right there. Don't that sound like The Purge? Who wrote that movie? The Edomites wrote that movie.
It said, look, now the latter part of it is someone who, I wouldn't say they're a rabbi, but they're a Khazar who's defending this. It said, note the part of the passage that is not quoted in the accusations. So they're like trying to defend it. You know, these are accusations you're bringing against the Talmud. They're not true. It says the accuser did not mention that the person, not necessarily a Jew, must dress in black and cover his head. You forget that part. Why would this be if the Talmud is offering advice on how to commit a crime? Quite the opposite. This person should try to blend in with everyone else. Rather, the Talmud is offering very sound psychological advice. This person is not directly told you can't do it. And it's like, how in the hell does that make any sense? So the Talmud, you're not told you can't directly go and commit the crime. We're just telling you how you should more so reason when you do go about committing the crime.
Man.
That advice, and this person continues, that advice to a person steeped in desire is meaningless because the person has lost control of his actions, and that's what they use to justify it. Rather, the person is bidden to first delay his intended actions. This is how they reason. This is the reasoning of the wicked. It says, first delay his intended actions by going to a city where he is not known. This lengthy trip will serve as a cooling off period. He is then told to dress humbly, which should further serve as a reminder of what he should be doing compared to what he plans on doing. So you go to the other cities so you can cool off, wear black so you're in humble clothing, so you're coming in the spirit of meekness to carry out your crime. You're not coming, boastfully. It's not like you have all red on. I'm trying to come out there and showboat. You're coming humbly in all black, So the reasoning, it says, so rather than offering carte blanche permission to sin, the Talmud is suggesting a form of indirect rebuke to prevent the person from sinning. That's more so what it's dealing with. And that's so, and they got all the rabbis. And then, so the discretion of God's name is a subterfuge to convince this sick individual to follow the path to health. So it's more so a nurturing thing. We want to nurture them. Get Sirach 18 and 30. Do the scriptures coincide with that at all? Get Sirach 18 and 30. We want to get Sirach chapter 18 and verse 30, and then 23 and 6. See what the scripture said.
Sirach 18, verse 30. Go not after thy lust.
Give in to him.
Go not after thy lust.
Find a way to pacify it. It's okay.
Go not after thy lust,
Read.
but refrain thyself from thine appetites.
Give in to your appetite.
Refrain thyself from thine appetites.
All right. Get 23 and 6. Say refrain from that appetite. Get 23 and 6.
Sirach 23, verse 6. Let not the greediness of thy belly nor lust of the flesh take hold of me.
So that's why our prayers are always so that lust doesn't take hold of us. Read on.
And give not over me thy servant into an impudent mind.
Right, over to an aspect where now you're moving in ignorance. You're moving on some dumb stuff instead of wisdom. Get Romans 6 and 12. Get Romans chapter 6, and let's get verse 12.
Romans chapter 6, verse 12.
Read.
Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body.
Nah, it's all right.
Let
it's
not
just a little
sin,
thing.
let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body.
It's all right if I wear all black, right?
Nope. Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body,
All right.
that ye should obey it in the lust thereof.
Exactly. Don't do it. Let's go ahead and we're going to read this next one. It says, Rabbi Hanina says, a Gentile who struck a Jew is liable to receive the death penalty. As it is stated, when Moses saw an Egyptian striking a Hebrew, and he turned this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he struck the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And Rabbi Hanina says, one who slaps the cheek of a Jew is considered as though he slapped the cheek of the divine presence. As it is stated, it is a snare, mokish, for a man to rashly say halal, holy, Proverbs 20 and 25. The verse is interpreted homiletically to mean one who strikes nokish, a Jew, is considered as though he hurt the cheek of the Holy One, Sanhedrin 58b. Let's get Exodus 21, 18 through 19. Go ahead and read that.
Exodus 21, verse 18. And if men strive together, and one smite another with a stone or with his fist, and he die, but keepeth his bed, if he rise again and walk abroad upon his staff, then shall he that smote him be quiet only. He shall pay for the loss of his time.
Right.
And
so it's an aspect where these are things, when the Most High made these laws, these were the standards. These are things that apply to everybody because these are the same laws that are going to be upon the face of the earth. Go ahead and Is that all in 19?
and shall cause
Go
him
ahead.
to be thoroughly healed.
Right. Read on.
And if a man smite his servant or his maid with a rod, and he die under his hand, he shall be surely punished.
Right. You'll be punished. So it's an aspect where none of these things the Most High gives offense to where it's all right to go ahead and do these things. It's like when you read, when the Most High, even when you read like when David committed adultery, it wasn't like, oh, you deal with, he was one of another nation, he was good. Most High didn't say that nah, you still got to punish. He faced severe punishment for that. It wasn't okay. Get Exodus 12 and 49. Because those are the same thing we have complaints with this system. It's like, oh, it's okay. Edomites do that. But then it's like when we do it, we get thrown under the jail. They get let off scot-free. Most High, look, he made righteous laws. Get Exodus 12 and 49.
Exodus 12, verse 49. One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you.
Most High made one manner of law for everybody. The differences, which, yeah, it's difference with certain things. Like, yeah, we'll go ahead, and when it deals with, okay, he'll deal with aspects where, all right, if you have the meat animal that, hey, it got hit by a car, okay, that's still good meat. You say, you can chop that up, you can sell it to him. But there's limits on the things you can do. Just like with certain things, he makes certain laws, especially for the Levites, that wasn't subject to all Israel. So the same thing, there are slight differences, but the law as a whole applies to everybody. It ain't a situation where, oh, Israel murder is good, but then the heathen murder, is bad. Nah, Most High made righteous laws and dealings all around. Go ahead and read this. Withholding wages. It says, rather, Rav Eha, son of Rav Ika, said that there is a different explanation. It is necessary only to teach the halakha of one who withholds the wages of a hired laborer. For a Gentile to do so to another Gentile, and for a Gentile to do so to a Jew is prohibited. But for a Jew to do so to a Gentile is permitted. No, that's not permitted. These are the same problems we run into with Esau's system now that makes it a messed up system, because it's like, damn, they do a lot of these things for them, and it's like, it'd be good, but for us, we get crap. So the same thing the Most High said, look, it's one law because it has to be just. The whole problem we have with this system is that Esau is not just whatsoever. So that's what builds up the frustration. That's what builds up the rebellion. That's why the nation can be happy when we rule, because it's going to be a just law in place. It's going to be actual righteousness going forth. And that was Sanhedrin 57a. But let's get Leviticus 19 and 13. Get Leviticus chapter 19 and read verse 13. And then we're going to get 24 and 22. It's my money and I need it now.
Leviticus 19, verse 13.
Read.
Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning.
Right. And that was the thing. You got to pay him. It says, but get 24 and 22. In the same book, 24 and 22.
Leviticus chapter 24, verse 22. Ye shall not have one manner.
Read it again.
Ye shall have one manner of law, as well as for the stranger, as for one of your own country. For I am the Lord your God.
So an aspect where did the Most High make a whole bunch of differences where everything was just favoring Israel all the time? You don't read that. He made it to where it was just. Let's get the next part, mouth of witnesses. Let's get Rabbi Yaakov Bar Aha found that it was written in the book of Agadat, which is one of their books, in the study hall of Rav, contrary to the halakha with regard to a Jew. A descendant of Noah is executed on the basis of the verdict of even one judge, and by the testimony of even one witness, and without being given forewarning before committing the transgression. He can be judged or testified against only by the mouth of a man and not by the mouth of a woman. But even a relative may judge his case or testify against him. That's Sanhedrin 57b. Get Deuteronomy. Get Deuteronomy 17 and 6. And we get 19 and 15. Say one witness is good enough for them, but one man. No
Deuteronomy 17, verse 6. At the mouth of two witnesses, or
How
three,
many?
at the mouth of two witnesses, or three witnesses, shall he that is worthy of
Shall
death
he that is worthy of death, read,
be put to death. But at the mouth of one witness he shall not be put to death.
So, which book are we going to listen to? We're going to listen to his Bible, right? So the mouth of two or three witnesses, for he that is worthy of death, of course, he or she that is worthy of death be put to death. That's the law. That's what the Most High said. You don't read where he made, when the Most High, he's very specific about anything he talks about, right? So where do you see where he says, well, look, surely it is two witnesses for the man, but if the woman commits it, thou shalt need one, and the heathen, and then they shall need zero. If they be guilty, they be guilty. You don't read that. He's made one manner law. Get 19 and 15.
Deuteronomy 19, verse 15. One witness shall not rise up against a man.
You mean what witness shall?
One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity.
For any iniquity. It said one witness can't rise up. Well, I seen him do this, because what happens is people lie, right? I seen him do this, and you seen, yeah, you did it, man, and all right, well, we got to put him to death. One witness ain't enough. It said for anything, what's the situation? You know, the situation, you can't just rise up against and then try to give some sort of harsh punishment when it's like, damn, the other person didn't even get to tell their side of the story. They just automatically guilty because this person said so? But read on.
Or for any sin, and any sin that he sinneth at the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, shall the matter be established.
So we're seeing the continuity in how the Most High deals with it, right? All right. The next one, judgment and afterlife. Oniculos then went and raised Balaam from the grave through necromancy. He said to him, who is most important in that world where you are now, in the afterlife? All right, go ahead. And Balaam said to him, the Jewish people. Angelos asked him, should I then attach myself to them here in this world? And Balaam said to him, you should not seek their peace or their welfare all the days. Angelos said to him, what is the punishment of that man? A euphemism for Balaam himself in the next world. Balaam said to him, he is cooked in boiling semen. Now, where in the scripture do you read where the Most High said that about anybody? It said he is cooked in boiling semen, as he caused Israel to engage in licentious behavior with the daughters of Moab. Which, okay, you read Balaam, you read Moab, and you know, he did have some dealings with them. But I don't mean he getting cooked in boiling semen. The Most High ain't did that. He ain't read that as a judgment out of the scriptures. However it may sound, but that's Gittin 57a. But get Revelation 19 and 20. See if that's scriptural. Get Revelation 19 and 20. Then we'll get Revelations 20 and 14.
Revelation chapter 19 and verse 20.
Read.
And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image.
So where are these getting all cast? When judgment's all said and done, where are they going? Let's see this. Let's see if it says anything about some hot boiling semen. Read.
These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone.
All right, so that didn't line up at all with scripture. They missed it by a long shot. Get Revelation 20 and 14. Read 14 and 15.
Revelation chapter 20, verse 14. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire.
The lake of what?
The lake of fire.
Read.
This is the second death.
Okay, so that's the second death he's talking about. Read on.
And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire.
Let's continue, because this is what they say about Christ. Coming up next. Angelos then went and raised Jesus, the Nazarene, from the grave through necromancy. Angelos said to him, who is most important in that world where you are now? Jesus said to him, the Jewish people. And this is the only part where I went down a couple of lines because sometimes they get wordy. So they get more wordy than me. Let's get Angelos. It said to him, what is the punishment of that man? It said a euphemism of Jesus himself in the next world. Jesus said to him, he is punished with boiling excrement. As the master said, anyone who mocks the words of the sages will be sentenced to boiling excrement. Where have you read that in the scriptures where the Most High said, look, you disobey, you're going to be boiled in some crap? Where do you find that? And that's Gittin 57a. All right. Get Acts 7, 55 to 56. They said Christ is boiling in some crap. Get Acts 7, 55 to 56. You got Balaam, he's boiling in some semen. And then you got Christ boiling some crap.
Damn.
Get Acts 7, 55 to 56.
Acts 7 and 55. But he, being full of the Holy Ghost, looked up.
So you read about Stephen, read on.
Looked up steadfastly into heaven.
And what did he see? Read.
And saw the glory of Yahweh and Yahushua standing on the right hand of God.
You mean he wasn't standing in some doo-doo?
He was standing on the right hand of God.
Boiling in some crap?
He was standing on the right hand of God.
Maybe soaking in some semen?
standing on the right hand of God.
All right, that's what I thought. Get Colossians 3:1. So an aspect where, once again, Talmud's full of crap. But
Yes,
let's get Colossians 3:1. And this is their truth. Get Colossians chapter 3 and verse 1.
Colossians chapter 3, verse 1. If ye then be risen with Christ,
Because Christ rose from the dead, right? Read.
seek those things which are above.
Why?
Seek those things which are above, where Christ sitteth on the right hand of God.
So Christ is sitting on the right hand of the Most High, right? Exactly. So let's get this next one, pedophilia. Gomorrah. It says, Rav Yehuda said that Rav said, a minor boy who engaged in intercourse with an adult woman renders her as one whose hymen is ruptured by wood, as the act is not considered full-fledged intercourse. Right, because it's called pedophilia. You know, it says, Rav Yehuda continues, when I said this statement before, Shemuel, he said to me, a woman does not achieve the status of one whose hymen is ruptured by wood by means of flesh. That is intercourse. And that's Ketubot 11b. Get Genesis 38, 6 through 11. Let's see what our forefathers did. Genesis chapter 38, verse 6 through 11.
Genesis chapter 38, verse 6. And Jehu took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him.
So Judah's firstborn was wicked, so he put him to death. Read on.
And Judah said unto Onan, go into thy brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother.
Right, duty of a brother, which you can also find in Deuteronomy 25 and 5. Read on.
And Onan knew that the seed should not be his, and it came to pass, when he went in unto his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground.
That he spilled his seed on the ground because he didn't want to raise up seed for his brother, because he knew that's not really going to be my son. That's going to be my brother's son. I don't want to raise up seed for my brother. I want to raise up seed for me. In my name, not in my brother's name. Read on.
Lest that he should give seed to his brother.
Right, because he didn't want to fulfill the law. So you're just going to sleep with it and just spill it on the ground. And the Most High knew his heart. Read on.
And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. And
so let's read on and see what happened next.
then said Judah to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow at thy father's house till Shelah, my son, be grown.
He said, waited till what?
Till Shelah, my son, be grown.
Till he be grown. He's still underage. He's still a minor. Read.
For he said, lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house.
Right. So an aspect and read on.
And in process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died. And Judah was comforted and went up unto his sheep shearers to Timnath, he and his friend Hera, the Adulamite.
And read verse 13.
And it was told Tamar, saying, behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnath to shear his sheep. And
read verse 14.
And she put her widow's garment off from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in one place, which is by the way to Timnath. For she saw.
She saw what? Read.
That Shelah was grown.
So she saw that now he's grown. Now he finally became the age of a man. That there's an age. It's not like a situation where it's just always, man, free reign. No, you have to wait till that person now becomes a full age. Get Exodus 21 and 16. Hot as hell in here, huh? I'm sweating.
89 to be exact. Exodus 21, verse 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
Because that's the other thing you have too. You have a lot of people sex trafficking. You got teachers running away with students and stuff like that. It's like, nah, you stole my daughter. You stole my son. Oh, like, nah, you get put to death. That's the penalty. Get Deuteronomy 22 and 25. Because the aspect where, the aspect of pedophilia, someone, which is, man, it's a lot of, man, that's death. Get Deuteronomy 22 and 25. Because the same thing, because those become situations of, rape, molestation, things of that nature, but you're going to see how they feel about it in the Talmud. It's okay. 9-year-old boy sleep with a 40-year-old woman and all this stuff, and, sleep with a 3-year-old, sleep with a 12-year-old. These are all things that they feel is okay. Go ahead, get Deuteronomy 22 and 25.
Verse 25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her,
it's no different. It could be the field, the classroom, whatever it is, Rick.
And lie with her, then the man only that lie with her shall die.
So that man or that woman sleeping with minors, little 9, 12, 3-year-olds, nah, you gotta be put to death. The situation, you ain't just finding little kids and that's just cool. Most you gotta get put to death. The only situation where you may not read the aspect of everyone just getting put to death, because the aspect where those things have to also be at the judge's determine, because some of the amount of the judgments can be a little different. It's different if it's, okay, a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old, even though the 19-year-old is 19-year-old's a minor. But a situation where, okay, 19, 20, we're not talking like, a 3-year-old or 9-year-old that, this 42-year-old man been on. That's a different situation. You get me? So that's why it's not just 100% just cut and dry like every single minor. In certain cases, it is case by case. So that's where the Most High left at. Like, look, okay, it's different. My 19-year-old slept with this, 21-year-old. Okay, I get that. That's a little different. That could be worked out more so in the judges and more so talked about with the parents. So, but ain't no way you can talk that 42-year-old man, he didn't slept with that 9-year-old girl. There ain't no talking your way out of that, bro. You getting put to death. And a lot of our people, especially in South America, they still do that. They still put you to death for that. So they still do that. Get this next one. Rava said that this is what the Mishnah is saying. An adult man who engaged in intercourse with a minor girl less than 3 years old has done nothing, as intercourse with a girl less than 3 years old is tantamount, meaning equivalent, to poking a finger into the eye. Nigga, touch my kids and try to tell me, it's like just poking me, you in the eye, bro. It's the same thing. You dying where you stand.
But y'all know they trying to make pedophilia legal as homosexuals.
Look at what they believe, though. This is in your book. Yeah. All those things, you can't identify the baby as being male or female. They haven't gotten the ability to make a choice yet on it. So, but these are the reason, because all these things, like, guess what? These are their beliefs. It's now, how can we get this passed? How we get it mainstream? How can we get it where this is acceptable? Well, they're under, 3 years old. Well, they're not even fully developed yet to even have a hymen. So I technically didn't consummate a marriage, because they don't even have it. So, it's okay. It's like I can do it and they're still a virgin. So how are you going to do that to me? That's science. Nah, that's death,
That's right.
In the case of an eye, after a tear falls from it, another tear forms to replace it. Similarly, the ruptured hymen of the girl younger than 3 is restored. And a young boy who engaged in intercourse with an adult woman renders her as one whose hymens are ruptured by wood. Pretty much it was just like it was nothing. That's Ketubot 11b. So these are the things that make you stop and wonder, why would you subscribe to this book and these doctrines? And if you got Israelites, man, if you're Israelites subscribing to that book, then leave that book alone. Because the aspect where then it seemed like, these are the things you align with. Like we say, years like there's a camp. Hey, you have a certain belief. There's a camp that teaches it or subscribes to it. You know. So, incidental to the case of refusal, the Gomorrah cites a related halakha. Rav Bevia taught a bereta before Rav Naaman. It says 3 women may engage in relations. Here's the thing. 3 women may engage in relations with a contraceptive reabsorbent, a soft fabric placed at the entrance to their wombs to prevent conception, despite the fact that this practice is generally prohibited. Listen to this. They are as follows: a minor, a woman who is already pregnant, and a nursing woman. Let's take you back to Sesame Street. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things is not quite the same. One of these things is real left up, all right? So a minor shouldn't be in there, all right? It says the bereta specifies the reason for each exception. And listen to this. A minor may do so lest she become pregnant and perhaps die. So at the end of the day, and as they feel, I'm looking out for her. If she's a minor, you want her to get pregnant and die? At least put something there so, okay, she doesn't get pregnant. But the whole thing, the whole inception is wrong because you shouldn't be sleeping with her in the first place. So that part, huh? So it says, once again, a minor may do so lest she become pregnant and perhaps die. A pregnant woman, lest she be impregnated a second time and her previous fetus become deformed into the shape of a sandal fish. The logic with these people. It said a sandal fish by being squashed by the pressure of the second fetus. When the Most High said, man, he saw a base people, no people rule over us, this is what Most High talking about. Man, no one more profane than Esau. As for a nursing woman, she does so lest she become pregnant and her milk dry up, in which case she will wean her son too early, thereby endangering him, and he will die. And the bereta continues, who is considered a minor? It is a girl from the age of 11 years and 1 day until the age of 12 years and 1 day. If she was younger than this or older than this, she may go ahead and engage in relations in her usual manner. Yeah, it's 1 year she's a minor, that 1 year, you know, because 3-year-old, it ain't nothing, you know, she's good. She's still a virgin afterward. If she's younger, you know, than 11 years and 1 day, or older than 12 years and 1 day, it's good. She can still engage in sex regularly. It's all good. So that's how they view it. That's how they see it, according to them. But once again, is any of this, are you reading any of this in the scriptures? That's the main thing. All right, so we're on the same page. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir. Since it is assumed that a minor who is less than 11 years old cannot become pregnant, she is considered to be in no danger. And the rabbis say, both this one and that one, that is, in all these cases, she may go ahead and engage in relations in her usual manner. And heaven will have mercy upon her and prevent any mishap, since it is stated, the Lord preserve the simple. Well, he ain't preserving your simple ass. That's Yevamot 12b. All right? So let's get this next one. This is the last one, circumcision. All right? So, circumcision, still pedophilia. We learned in the Mishnah that one sucks blood from the wound after the circumcision was performed on Shabbat. Rav Papa said, a craftsman who does not suck the blood after every circumcision is a danger to the child. The logic of these people, huh? It said a craftsman who does not suck the blood after every circumcision is a danger to the child undergoing the circumcision. And we remove him from his position as circumcised. That if you don't put your mouth on the baby's genitals afterwards, something wrong with you. You got to be removed from your position. And this is, go ahead.
Also they chew the foreskin that's been cut off. They don't just
Oh yeah,
toss
that
it where
Jake, no,
they
he used to
chew
be
it and
one
eat
of
it.
them.
Man, they sick, huh?
Man,
Man, these people sick,
they got to do it for their sake, for the baby's sake. Yeah, that's how he looked. He looked like he got next. So, the logic, that was it. That was the logic. That's the whole situation behind it. It's all right. So, but nevertheless, there's cases and diseases where stuff comes out of that stuff. So I'm gonna read this one because this is how the babies get herpes and stuff like that because of these things. This is stuff they try to keep on wraps, under wraps, I should say. I'm gonna just read them briefly. It said 2 more infants have contracted the herpes virus after undergoing an ultra-Orthodox Jewish type of circumcision that has been linked to the spread of the potentially deadly virus to newborn boys, according to the New York City Health Department. In the ritual known as Mitzvah B'Peh, after removing the foreskin of the penis, the person performing the procedure places his mouth briefly over the wound, sucking a small amount of blood out, which is discarded. So, antibacterial ointment is applied and the wound is bandaged. Well, why'd you have to put the mouth on the penis and then put the antibiotics and wrap it and stuff like that? Why wouldn't you just do that first? Why do you have to find a way to seep in? It's like they gotta find some type of way to be the pedophile. They gotta find some type of way to be a pervert. Like, why? That's my whole thing. Like, why? What is the purpose? Like, this is what they have to do in their eyes. So that's what they have to do. They gotta put you ain't doing a good job, and then it's like if you ain't doing it, we're gonna fire you. Get Genesis 17, 7-14.
The blood, eat not the blood scripture?
Nah.
Genesis 17.
Yeah. Oh. Get Genesis 17, 7-14. Because we're gonna get the law as far as dealing. Let's see what the Most High says regarding it. Get Genesis 17 and let's read verse 7-14.
Genesis 17, verse 7. I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee, and their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. Mm-hmm. And I will give unto thee, and to thy seed after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger, and the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession. And I will be their God.
So we'll read about him establishing his covenant with Israel, right? Read on.
And God said unto Abraham, thou shalt keep my covenant. Therefore, thou and thy seed after thee, and their generations, this is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you, and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised.
So let's see if the Most High says anything about sucking the baby's genitals. Read.
And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you.
So, okay, covenant, circumcise the foreskin. Let's read on.
And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you. Every man child in your generations, he that is born in the house or brought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed. Mm-hmm. He that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money, must needs be circumcised. And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised man child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. And he hath broken my covenant.
So, anywhere in that, did we read anything about man, woman, teacher, rabbi, man next door, about putting his mouth on somebody's genitals? Nowhere, right? All right. So that's it.
Let's get one more.
Go ahead.
Because you know they another thing that they do, which is they start eating the woman's placenta. So all African American women that go to Cedars-Sinai and to these other hospitals, they are actually selling your placenta to these Edomites. They even eat their own. They cook it, they fry it, and the eating of the blood is prohibited in Israel. Ain't no man supposed to be sucking a baby's penis and sucking the blood. So let's get that. Genesis 9:4. Because it's also something we're not supposed to do. And then we'll end it. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 9 and verse 4. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall you not eat.
So we ain't supposed to eat no blood at all. But they eating it, breaking the Most High's covenant, which he never made with them. But they be fooling a gang of people, right? Man, they nasty as hell. Nasty.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Give him the mic real quick.
Chicken sushi.
Say chicken sushi?
Y'all seen the one image of the people, they was in the wild, they killed this, it was a bear or a lion or something, and they took the heart out and had the kids biting the heart. Man, Esau nasty, man.
Yeah, that's what they doing now, man. They just, it's a few videos on Facebook with them just sitting there cooking food for like 2 seconds, and then like literally have cups of blood. They're like drinking it and just eating raw meat and stuff like that. It's like way out, man.
Yeah.
These
that's
people
Esau,
sick.
man.
Damn devil. But check on learning. So is the Talmud part of the books of the Bible? No. Is the Talmud sound doctrine? No. Should I follow the teachings of the Talmud? You say, hell no. All right. All right, any questions regarding anything we covered, went over? Someone need me to go back for something? Somebody thinking about subscribing to the Talmud? That's the book to get. They on point. Say, hell no. But, all right, that's it, man. That's the end of my lesson. We go ahead send up the prayers. That's it.
Amadian Wapanyaha Kudam, standing face to east.
Oh, announcements. My bad.